Hello, Tim from Fair Play Now on the 1st of November 2021. And I did try and go along to do a job a minute ago, but the guy answered the door looking a little bit rough and said he'd sent me an email message, which I didn't see, but I may well have missed it. But apparently they're all down with the flu at the moment, so the job has been postponed. So I've got a few minutes here to speak to you guys instead. So that's all good. But I was pleased that he actually said it was just the FLU and not the lurgy, as so many people are doing. And I just hope they didn't bother sort of having these silly tests to kind of confirm that it's just the FLU. But anyhow, I thought that was quite interesting that he just did say it was that and not the lurgy. Oh yeah, another thing, I'm just not wearing that hat today because of this thing I've got on the top of my head. It's right at the very top of my forehead, so if I kind of frame things carefully, you won't see it and get put off your dinner. To be fair, it's coming on very nicely, healing up really well, and believe it or not, it's doing so just on its own accord without any kind of big pharma interventions. So miracles certainly do happen, don't they? Who would have thought it? But anyway, I shouldn't really jest because, as I said at the start of this video, it's the 1st of November and we are just coming into, well, what I regard as winter, really. November, December, January, February is what I regard as winter here in the UK. Okay, I know winter doesn't officially start until December, but yeah, really, that's when that 4-month period is when you get all the dark nights and nasty cold weather, with October and April, March being sort of transitional months as far as I know. But I don't think it is overstating things to say that this next 4 months could possibly be the most important 4-month period in sort of British or certainly English history, because as we go into this period, I'm sure the powers that shouldn't be are kind of rubbing their hands and wondering what on earth they can, what kind of shenanigans and nonsense they can get away with. And I think if we get to the end of February, maybe even the end of January, as I said the other day, but certainly if we get to the end of February, that this 4-month period we're just going into, without any lockdowns and without any big V passports being introduced into England, and without any of these ridiculous mandates kind of being extended and hopefully even rolled back, which hopefully will happen. But I think if we can get through this 4-month period without anything like that happening, and any of the other things that people like us fear might happen, without that happening either, we may well kind of have cause to raise a little drinking celebration at the end of February, which will be just good timing because that's when my sort of birthday is, around that sort of period. So that is how I feel. And if we do get to that stage without too much happening, it will be thanks to you and thanks to me and thanks to the hundreds and thousands of other people up and down the country kind of posting on social media whether it's making videos like I do, or just commenting on them, or doing sort of Facebook and Twitter posts and all of that. Because for every one of us speaking our mind there on social media, there are probably at least another 10, if not 20 other people up and down the country who don't do that kind of thing, don't bother posting anywhere, but feel the same way as we do. And the powers that shouldn't be know that, and I'm quite convinced that they would have loved to have done something or more stuff before now, in October, September, October. So the fact that we've got through to November without things deteriorating too much. Okay, I know, as we said in the last video, as Carol said in my last video there, we have got this horrible sort of healthcare, social care worker problem to deal with and to get rolled back. But the fact that things haven't deteriorated any further, that's not down to the powers that shouldn't be. That's not down to the government. That's not down to Johnson and his sort of merry band of horrible men and women. That is down to you, and that is down to me, and that is down to all the other people up and down the country like us, kind of pushing back. And if we can just keep the pressure up, keep this kind of opposition going, and we can get through November, get through to Christmas, out the other side of Christmas, and then through to the end of January, and then, as I say, through to the end of February, keeping up the fight, keeping up the opposition, and getting through to the end of February without things getting any worse, and hopefully better than what they are now. I think that will be a victory. So we're just going to have to see what happens. This is, I think, one of the most crucial 4-month periods in English history, and I think we need to do all we can to keep up the pressure and to let the powers that shouldn't be know that we know what you're up to, and we're calling you out all the time now, and we are pushing back, we are fighting back. More and more people are waking up. And I'll just leave you with one last thought. If you are still asleep, you still think these big V things are a good idea, and I'm just wondering how many of these things it's going to take to wake you up. Is it going to be the 5th one? Is it going to be the 10th one? Is it going to be the 20th one? When are you going to start smelling a rat? Because, surely you've got to realise that with more and more of these things being foisted upon us, that there is something amiss. And the last thought I was going to say to you, there's a certain American doctor whose name starts with F. I'm sure you know who I mean. And he is, of course, a very major pusher of the big V. And we know the dodgy stuff he has been doing, or at least sanctioning and funding regarding the Beagles. And if you don't know, basically he was involved with these experiments where sort of Beagles had their heads shoved into boxes and really were eaten alive. The sort of faces and heads were eaten alive by sandflies. It's the most despicable, cruel experiment you can possibly think of, that could only be done really by a complete psycho. And I'd ask you the question, do you really want a treatment put into your body, or more importantly now, into your children's bodies by someone by someone who proposes that they're a good thing when at the same time they're conducting such despicable experiments. You know, this man is telling you to get these treatments into your own body and into your children's bodies, and at the same time he is conducting these horrible experiments on puppies. I mean, really? I know you're going to listen to a man like that, and you might sort of say, well, he's in America, you know, I'm sure our guys aren't as bad as that. All I can say to that is, yeah, right. And on that note, I'll leave it there. Back later. Tim from Fair Play Now. Thanks for watching.